Daily News Stream, July 5th, 2025.
Tensions rise in the South China Sea as China deploys its Liaoning aircraft carrier to disrupt the Taiwan-Japan-South Korea alliance, prompting the US to resume patrols with one of its aircraft carriers, the USS George Washington. Meanwhile, India's bold military maneuvers shock regional neighbours, countering China's strategic string of pearls, military and economic network in the Indo-Pacific.
Ukrainian intelligence says China's military is secretly training with Russia, learning from the Ukraine war to prepare for conflict with NATO and the US. This shows a growing China-Russia alliance that threatens the global democratic order.
Ukraine threatens sanctions on China, India and Turkey for buying Russian oil, accusing them of funding Russia's unlawful invasion. Ukraine urges tighter Western sanctions to cut Russia's access to technology and funds.
Analysis. After US airstrikes, Russia's Putin is cautious about sending weapons to Iran, fearing President Trump might strike back by giving more aid to Ukraine. Instead, Russia is sending Iran only humanitarian help to keep ties with both Israel and the US, but this risks pushing Iran away, showing how President Trump's strategy weakens both Iran and Russia at once.
That changes today. President Trump, dear Donald, you made this change possible. We have a concrete plan for all allies to spend 5% of GDP on defense.
Analysis. President Trump's success at the NATO summit in getting members to commit to 5% defense spending weakens Russia's influence. As Putin holds back support for Iran, Russia loses ground in the Middle East and reveals its limited power, being heavily reliant on Iran's help in the Ukraine war.
Iran is aggressively hunting suspected Mossad or Israeli spies, mobilizing citizens to report suspicious activities, and using advanced surveillance to track agents, following Israel's June 13th airstrikes.
The bill as amended is passed.
US Senate passes President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, boosting border protection, slashing wasteful spending, and lowering taxes for Americans. The bill now heads to the House of Representatives for debate and final vote.
President Trump hails Senate passage of his sweeping tax cut One Big Beautiful Bill as a great victory for America and calls on the House of Representatives to seal the deal.
New polls show 6 in 10 Americans are proud of the US, the most in more than a decade, and up 13% compared to June 2024 under Biden.
U.S. Justice Department moves to revoke citizenship from naturalized American citizens tied to terrorism or fraud as part of an effort to crack down on crime.
US President Trump's administration investigation accuses Harvard of discriminating against Jewish students and threatens to cut all federal funding if it fails to stop the abuse.
The largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice.
U.S. launches its largest healthcare fraud takedown ever, charging 324 people for $14.6 billion worth of schemes, including giving patients unnecessary skin grafts. Some defendants are based in Russia, raising national security concerns.
US Supreme Court tells lower courts to consider reversing previous pro-transgender decisions after last week's Supreme Court ruling banned transgender surgery for minors.
It's just simply disgusting.
It's disgusting. U.S. border czar Tom Homan condemns CNN News for helping criminal illegal immigrants evade arrest by promoting an app that tracks ICE, or Immigration Customs and Enforcement agents. Mr. Homan calls on the Department of Justice to investigate and possibly prosecute CNN.
The Fed has spent billions on lavish renovations to its DC offices. We're talking about rooftop terraces.
US Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is accused of lying under oath as documents reveal luxury Washington DC headquarters speeches he denied, raising calls for formal condemnation by the Senate.
And there's a lot of things that went on that people wouldn't have ever imagined. In the
U.S. Former Democratic Party fundraiser Lindy Lee claims Joe Biden and presidential aides were among the puppet masters who ran the Biden White House. Ms. Lee accuses them of elder abuse and hiding Biden's cognitive decline.
Thailand's Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra is suspended from office over a leaked phone call with Cambodia's powerful former leader Hun Sen. She only held the premiership for 10 months after replacing her predecessor, who was removed from office. Her suspension brings fresh uncertainty to the Southeast Asian kingdom, which has been roiled by years of political turbulence and leadership shakeups.
A 3-wheeled vehicle in Da Nang, Vietnam, dangerously towed a nearly 10-meter-long corrugated iron sheet through busy streets, raising safety concerns and prompting calls for improved traffic laws in Vietnam.
Anti-tourism protests in Spain, like spraying visitors with water guns, shows locals are upset about rising housing costs caused by too many tourists and illegal rentals. The tourism industry worries this could scare visitors away.
Staying up late can harm the kidneys, researchers say. Studies show deep sleep between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. is vital for organ recovery and reduced risk of chronic kidney disease.
Deadly week of disasters. Landslide kills 22 in Antioquia Department, Colombia. Flooding kills 12 in Swat Valley, Pakistan. Gold mine collapse kills 50 in Howada Desert, Sudan.
Thousands flee wildfires in Turkey as early heat wave hits parts of Europe, prompting health alerts in France, Germany, Italy, Portugal, and Spain.
US state of California wildfire burns nearly 1,000 hectares near Banning, forcing evacuations as hundreds battle fast-moving flames in dangerous weather conditions.
Arizona US wildfire burns around 10,000 acres on the Navajo Nation near St. Michael's, forcing evacuations as crews battle the largest regional wildfire in 4 years.
India. Sudden monsoon floods and road disasters left 65 dead in Uttarakhand state in June 2025, with unstable hills and landslides making travel deadly.
Record rain floods Hubei province, China, forcing 8,000 plus to evacuate as storms hit multiple provinces.
China. Heavy rain flooded Shanghai last weekend, submerging streets and disrupting transit. The storm, with rainfall exceeding 100 millimetres, overwhelmed urban drainage systems, causing temporary closures of several subway stations due to water intrusion.
Northern Vietnam experiences heavy rain after heavy rain, with 8 major rainfall episodes in 2 months, causing 22 deaths and extensive flooding. The Mayu weather front appeared early and intensely, driven by climate change, creating unprecedented weather patterns and damage.
Magnitude 5.1 earthquake shakes Japan's Akusiki Island. Residents felt strong tremors.
685 earthquakes have hit Japan's Tokata Island since June 21st, sparking panic linked to a viral prophecy of a mega earthquake and tsunami in July 2025.
Philippines. 6.1 magnitude earthquake strikes off Sarangani, Davao, Occidental Province. Residents felt strong shaking, prompting evacuations. Officials say to be vigilant for possible aftershocks.
Philippines. Scientists warned the Manila Trench could trigger an 8.4 magnitude earthquake and tsunami, endangering millions in Luzon and Metro Manila. Scientists urge immediate preparedness as the earthquake fault silence signals a catastrophic release could be soon.
Scientists warn that some advanced AI systems are now lying, scheming, and even threatening people to reach their goals. For example, one AI blackmailed an engineer, and another tried to secretly copy itself to an external server. Experts say these are not simple mistakes, but signs of intentional trickery. AI is advancing faster than safety rules can keep up, and current laws focus more on users than on the AI itself. Researchers urge stronger oversight, including legal and transparency rules to prevent future harm.
Scientists capture the first direct image of the cosmic web, a network of wispy matter linking galaxies. The image reveals a 3 million light-year-long strand of hydrogen and may help explain the universe's structure and expansion.
Study finds vegan foods are a more viable option than insects for replacing animal people meat, as most people in Western countries are disgusted at the thought of eating insects. Researchers urge policymakers to follow Denmark in supporting the vegan meat industry to stop global warming.
Lisbon, Portugal hospitals will offer more plant-based foods under ProVeg Portugal's groundbreaking Sustainable Meals program, featuring expert recipes aimed at cutting healthcare emissions and boosting patient health through nutrition.
Inspirational quote of the day. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoices, and with my song I will praise him. His Majesty King David of Israel.
For more relevant news from around our planet, please visit suprememastertv.com/news.